Hey, it's time for another review, this time for the brand new album from international pop star, the one and only Bruno Mars. And his first record, his first solo record in quite some time, that being The Romantic. And, oh man. Well, let's start here. I always felt like since Bruno Mars first bursted onto the scene, he's always done a pretty highly effective job of combining the more nostalgic elements of being a pop star and just somewhat of a heartthrob, I guess you could say, while bringing in more current day elements of being those things and putting them all together and still finding a way to make it sound fresh, vibrant, of the times, and interesting. Now, with this brand new album, I had some concerns. Well, maybe not concerns, maybe that's a bit too far, but I would say I was kind of curious when I first heard the first single from this album, that being I Just Might, and I felt like that was a very underwhelming first single for a record that is pretty highly anticipated. But then when I did hear this record in its entirety, sadly, that song is probably the best choice as far as your first foot forward to present this new record, even though that song kind of sounds more like the third single for this album. But all in all, this record is shockingly boring. Like, I honestly can't believe how lazy and how safe and tame this record sounds. The thing about Bruno Mars, since the very beginning of his career, it's always been very obvious that he has this obsession with being some sort of Casanova, some kind of guy that all women just fawn over, some guy that other guys want to be, the conqueror, if you will, the guy who will bring you flowers every day and breakfast in bed. But with this new record, he sounds more like a crooning cruise ship lounge singer who's going from table to table and wrapping his scarf around a bunch of divorcees. Like the instrumentation, the composition, and the song structures on these songs. First of all, I'm pretty sure I've heard Bruno Mars sing all of these songs before, but better. But these songs, they kind of sound like you know what? They're dangerously close to being in the field of elevator music, somewhere between that and also between like the karaoke version of a song that you couldn't pay the rights for, so you had to get the generic version of that song. Like these songs are just so uninspired, it's incredible to me. I remember when Bruno Mars first came out and he kind of looked like a ethnic version of Elvis. He kept doing a pretty decent job of reinventing himself from project to project just to kind of freshen things up. And for some odd reason, since he did that collaborative album with Anderson Paak, from that record to the single with Lady Gaga, all the way to this album, he seems to be stuck in this doo wop influenced 70s pimp cosplay of some sort. And that whole vibe, for me at least, has gotten pretty damn stale. And I'm just not buying this whole lover boy aesthetic that Bruno Mars is trying to come off as. And this record is just simply not good enough. For someone of his stature, for someone who is as popular, as big of an artist as Bruno Mars is, this is just incredibly disappointing of an album. Like, honestly, this sounds like something he like put together at the last minute, almost as if he forgot he was putting out a record. Like, I crammed for the final the night before and I did the best I could. This record sounds like a collection of B-sides and demos, and you're passing it off as your brand new album. Now, the thing with this record, and I guess the most positive thing I could say about this, is that it is played well. Like, in the very literal sense, it sounds good in your ear. But that's like me saying this record is dog shit, but it is the most pristine, elevated, cleanest version of dog shit. I don't know if that's good enough for you, if these songs are just pleasant enough. But to me, I feel like it is kind of offensive, to be honest with you, that he thought this album is, I guess, passable as far as being something that is worth releasing, unless it's kind of like stuff that I left over and here's a special treat for my fans. Check it out if you want. That's how I view this album. And the thing is, it's been 10 years since his last solo record, 24 Karat Magic. And I realized a couple years ago when all those rumors were starting to come out as far as him having gambling debt or him being in debt in general. And that's when I realized that it's not like he's been somewhere at home living some kind of reclusive life or he's been in the studio really trying to cook up something special. He's been on the road the whole time. He's been playing shows nonstop all over the world for the last 10 years. He's been out there. And maybe he needed to not do that unless he just didn't have a choice because he had to pay for stuff. But I think he needs to go right back in the studio, stay in the studio, and actually write something inspired, something fresh, something different that is not this lounge singer, tired, boring, vanilla, mundane music that he gave you on this album. Again, I can't emphasize enough how just lame as fuck this record is. It's really, really crazy to me. And, I can see someone listening to this album and thinking, these are nice little songs. But Bruno Mars, someone as big as Bruno Mars, someone who did the halftime show at the Super Bowl, he should be doing something better than this. Because when you look back at the first statements from each record that he's released, they felt like something kind of special. And this record is nothing special. Not at all. Psh, 4 sticks of butter. Peace, love, butter. Was I too mean?